Glow up for Halloween. 30-day glow up challenge. Spring means summer's just around the corner. 3-month Beachbody boot camp. 75 hard winter arc. New Year's resolutions. Time to glow up before this year ends, before the holiday season, before it's too late and you die ugly, sad, and alone with no friends because you didn't get your Beachbody ready fast enough. Dead cold body, gua sha, and jade roller in hand as you descend into the casket. Maybe in another life you will finally become hot enough, quick enough, and your situationship will actually love you. Anyways, buy my glow up course, link in description, so none of this happens to you. Love ya. Bye. I'm just kidding. The link in my description is not a glow up course. It's actually for today's sponsor, Hello Nancy. Today's video is sponsored by Hello Nancy. Hello Nancy is a team that cares about removing the taboos that are associated with self-pleasure. Nancy's toys and guides are designed to make self-pleasure a little less scary and a lot more fun. So I received the Beginner Bliss Bundle, a pleasure pouch from Nancy. Also, I love the packaging it comes in. It could make a great gift. I know the holiday seasons are coming up. So the first toy I would like to show you is the Uno. The Uno is a cute and simple personal massager designed for beginners. It starts with a gentle rumble and builds up, removing any sort of intimidation. The second toy is the Lem. The Lem is a game changer for anyone who wants to explore air suction. Don't let this innocent toy fool you. Some customers say it's better than the Rose. Both toys are discreet and quiet, and the Uno is made with premium waterproof and body-safe silicone. And they are smooth to the touch. So thank you again to Nancy for sponsoring today's video. They've offered me an exclusive 25% discount for my audience. So head over to hellonancy.com/Madison and use code Madison to get 25% off their toys today. So, today we're talking about glow up culture and the cult of self-improvement. Glow up culture has existed in mainstream media for decades, if not centuries. Plays, books, movies, TV shows, all love an ugly duckling transformation. All the underdog protagonists needed to show the world how special and valuable they were was a contacts, prescription, and a haircut. Voila! Their inner greatness is finally outwardly projected so everyone can finally see how amazing they truly are. They can live the life that they were always meant to live, no longer ugly, finally in a position to reap the rewards that life has to offer, like a romantic partner and popularity, maybe even job opportunities, wealth, the list goes on. Whether it's diet culture, the wellness and fitness industry, self-improvement, all of these things have programmed us to seek this better version of ourselves that is just out there waiting for us, so close but so out of reach at the same time. We're led to believe that if we finally get the right combination down, we can finally be our perfect selves. Maybe it's the right combination of sea moss and a vegan diet, or 10,000 steps and Pilates, shape ups and shake weights. Who knows? Maybe with this perfect body, we'll be able to avoid and prevent all of the trials and tribulations that ugly people go through, like rejection. Maybe if we're beautiful enough, then all the things we could ever want will finally be available, because after all, pretty privilege. Maybe the perfect body will inspire a regretful ex to come crawling back to validate our worth, or maybe that perfect body will grant acceptance from our peers or allow us to receive the love that we so desperately want from our family members who keep telling us maybe you should lose a couple pounds. With that perfect body, all of those pesky lifelong insecurities will finally vanish because you are undoubtedly, unequivocally, and objectively beautiful.
And once I lose 20 pounds, I'll love my body. And once I love my body, I'll feel beautiful. And once I feel beautiful, I'll feel loved. And once I feel loved, I'll feel free. And life will feel just as light as my new body. But once I've adjusted to my new reflection, my eyes narrow in on the new narrowness, and the shadows of my slim silhouette step into a harsh light fluorescence of my flesh, illuminating imperfections not previously in existence. And under newfound scrutiny of critical eyes, I realize once I tone it up and restrict more and eat less, I'll feel so much better about myself. And yes, I know not to compare, and social media isn't real. I'm really self-aware. But maybe in my subconscious and from the repetition of these images over and over again in my feed are getting to me as I convince myself to believe that what I'm doing is healthy, and some measures I take are healthy, but some measures breed obsession, and it's the perception of the body twisted by a sick mind. And once my waist is really tiny in the way that I like, then I realize I have arms that are too big, and once I fix my arms, then I realize I hate my acne scarred skin. And maybe once I stop searching for something to always fix, I'll feel happier, and once I feel happier, I'll feel free, and once I feel free, I'll feel like me. But I don't picture the current version of me. I picture what I've deemed to be the better, prettier, skinnier version of me.
Sadly, that universal perfect combination of foods and workouts and skincare regimens has not been discovered yet, or else we would all be perfect and beautiful and never be insecure again, and we would move on with our lives to something else. Although, I mean, things like Ozempic being invented, maybe we're closer to that than we think, but it's okay. That universal combination doesn't exist because everyone's body is different. Different things work for different people, which allows us to continue on fighting on this quest to perfection with no destination in sight, because as we all know, with the trend cycle, the goalpost is always moving, and even when you think you're right about to hit the finish line, it just moves another inch. And that's why this industry of self-improvement will never fail and will always have loyal customers, because it's impossible for humans to achieve perfection definitively forever. As I dive deeper into these different wellness trends, you will hear me say the words like sustainable and lifestyle change, long term. Although that is the ideal scenario for individuals when it comes to health and fitness and wellness, unfortunately, the fitness, wellness, diet industry doesn't really profit off of sustainability. They profit off of yo-yo dieting and fad diets. That's why we can go from BBLs to reverting to heroin chic in just a few years. We can go from raw veganism being perceived as the pinnacle of health to the carnivore diet in just a few years. Because at the end of the day, there can always be a rebrand, a new fad, change in name, change in product, but the desire stays the same. If anything, we are the product, simply being sold back to us over and over again. You, but better. It seems like every few months there's a new glow up challenge or wellness trend that's just recycled with basically like the same rules. It's just got a different like catchy internet slangy name that are all meant to inspire a new you and usually revolves around a specific time window or season. And the newest one to emerge is the winter arc, which is a perfectly named trend for this generation, a generation that loves to romanticize our lives and embrace main character syndrome. Life phases can be categorized into an era or a canon event or an arc. And this autumn season, we are in our winter arc. So what is a winter arc exactly? The winter arc starts each year on October 1st and ends on January 1st. The trend is a commitment to refocus your daily routines and habits before the first of the year. This enables you to lock in a healthy lifestyle and beat the temptation to eat more, be a couch potato, and lack mental wellness during the cold winter months. I will say, this concept resonates with me. I remember when I started my fitness journey, it was like around November, because I felt the like impending doom of the winter and the seasonal depression, and I was like, okay, I cannot do this again this year. What can I do to prevent that from happening? And I was like, well, what's the most obvious answer? Diet and exercise. And so I like joined a gym and I took up weight training and started being more conscious about the food I was eating, whatever, and just really like emphasizing daily movement. And yeah, it worked. It was great. I still do all those things. Obviously, like, you know, we go through different kind of ebbs and flows throughout our life, so you're not going to be completely 100% perfect every single day with your habits, which I think is why the winter arc is also a thing that people do, because let's say, you know, over the summer you kind of slacked on your habits and you want to kind of have this structured, romanticized arc thing to inspire you to get back on your habits and be more consistent. Winter, fall is a good time to kind of refocus. You're not going out as much, you're indoors more, so you have more time to like focus on yourself and your goals. So this makes perfect sense to me. And it also seems like the purpose around a winter arc, aside from maybe getting back into habits or creating new habits, is to avoid like quote unquote negative habitual changes that comes with the winter months. You know, it's easy to move less in the winter because you're not outside as much. The holidays are around, so people tend to eat more, and I guess some people want to avoid that during their winter arc. With the end of the year looming, the busy holidays approaching, and the weather worsening, people often revert back to bad habits that they will not address until the new year. Instead of falling into this trap, the trend of the winter arc pushes us to make the most of what is traditionally a time of unwinding and laziness. Well, okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with unwinding. I think like literally as human beings we do shift with the shifts in nature and with the weather, and it's just like more of a time for rest. So I don't think that should be necessarily ignored, but I also don't think your health and wellness should be ignored either. Balance, something that Gen Z seems to struggle with, at least from what I've seen on TikTok. The winter arc is also kind of like, I guess, a pre-New Year's resolution thing. It's like, do all the things that most people do for their New Year's resolutions now. So then you're like 3 steps ahead and you're better than everyone else because you started your resolutions early. But at the end of the day, it seems like we all need a season or excuse to make our lives better and exercise. That's kind of my biggest critique about the winter arc thing is like, yes, I think it's cute and I get why people do it. And I think also if you're like a TikToker, participating in a popular hashtag like the winter arc makes sense for your, I almost said your channel, your page. Oh my god, am I 70? Your TikTok account? I don't know. But also, I don't know why, and maybe this is just like a human nature thing, like why we need a time of the month or like a trendy, quippy time window to just like do things that are good for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never really been like huge into resolutions. If I have a goal that comes to mind, then I just decide to do it, and I do it whether it's September 13th or January 1st. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. But I don't know. I think maybe having that sense of like online community and knowing that other people are doing it with you could be really helpful. Like, I see how that can be used as a tool. I think when you know that other people are also on this like self-improvement mindset journey, whatever, it makes you feel like you're a part of something, which is something that we all, I think, can enjoy. And maybe having like this kind of seasonal window makes it feel less daunting, even though ideally like you wouldn't do these habits just during winter or just during autumn. You would do them for the rest of your life, depending on how intense and rigorous it is. Speaking of which, what are the winter arc rules exactly? The quotes I mentioned vaguely described it, and honestly, if you go on TikTok, it seems like people have different ideas of what a winter arc is to them. I think it's something that you kind of customize to yourself and your personal goals rather than following like a set list of things we all must do. But generally, it seems like most people who are engaging in this winter arc are going to the gym, exercising daily, getting enough sleep, ideally like 7 to 8 hours or more. Sometimes this also involves waking up early, waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to work out. Usually some sort of diet change, whether it's no sugar, no fried foods, or sticking to a whole foods diet, reading more, journaling, meditating, or praying, things like that. All amazing things that I think we should all implement in our life. But again, like, do you just do this for a limited time, or is it just to kind of kickstart your daily habits again? Something I've noticed with this winter arc, I mean, this goes for glow up trends in general, is that Gen Z is so highly motivated by hotness. It's kind of crazy. Like, every single wellness, health related trend has to be presented in this, like, this will make you hot kind of way. And I think that's interesting. I mean, you see it with, like, you know, the hot girl walks, or the fact that people say terms like, here are some habits that will make you hotter. These are hot girl habits, or how to become the hottest version of yourself this winter via the winter arc. And of course, yes, don't we all want to be the hottest version of ourselves? Like, if we could all push a button that was like, this will make you the hottest possible version of yourself scientifically, we'd all push it. The thing is, like, to be the hottest version of yourself, whatever that means to you, probably involves some extra effort, some extra work, delayed gratification, etc. So that's why these wellness trends are so popular, is because we're kind of always trying to get to the hottest version of ourselves. And throughout life, we go through ebbs and flows of prioritizing that more or less. And though I can recognize that, yes, we all want to probably look more beautiful at some point or do things to make us more beautiful, I do think Gen Z could take a bit of a breather when it comes to the obsession around hotness and looking like the hottest possible version of yourself at all times. Like, it seems a little exhausting to be so hyper aware and so hyper focused on your appearance. Like, your hotness is the most important thing in your life. Because it's not. It's not. It's definitely, I understand as someone who does value their appearance and likes to look nice and dress up, because I understand that beauty, especially as a woman, is social currency, I also know that like there are other things that are important. And I don't think every single little thing that you do needs to be in service of your hotness, right? Am I crazy? Like, it seems like every trend that I analyze on this channel has to do with being hotter, whether it's looks maxing or anti-aging or identifying what kind of beauty you are so you can optimize and maximize your beauty. It's always about the face card. It's always about the mug. And it's like driving me crazy. Honestly, at this point, it's getting quite boring. I'm like, don't y'all have hobbies? We need to diversify our interests. But like I said, I mean, Gen Z and millennials don't really care about hobbies that much, like I mentioned in my previous video. So maybe this is why we have gotten to this point. Like Jemima Kirk once said, I think you all think about yourselves a little too much. And that's not to say I'm like above this. Obviously, like I'm a human being on this earth. I am on the same internet as you all. I'm chronically online. So I definitely am like probably more preoccupied with my appearance than I should be. In fact, I know that I am. All the body stuff that's been going on has honestly been rotting my brain, but that's a conversation for another day. You can check out my TikTok has an eating problem video if you want to hear more about that. Anyways, let's move on to another trend that I think is very interesting that I think really started it all in some ways, and that's 75 Hard. So 75 Hard is a wellness trend that was created in 2019 by Andy Frisella, meant to challenge your mental toughness through a rigorous 75-day challenge involving your diet and fitness. It's meant to, push you out of your comfort zone and instill long-term changes to your daily habits, ideally. The catch is if you mess up one day, like let's say you have a cheat meal, you have to start those 75 days over again. So it's pretty intense, but it's not called 75 hard for no reason. It's not 75 soft. Oh wait, that exists too. We'll talk about that. But anyway, so unlike the winter arc, the 75 hard challenge is very cut and dry, very rigid, very specific. So the rules of 75 hard are: 1, follow a nutrition plan, no alcohol, no cheat meals. This nutrition plan can be whatever you want it to be. It can just be as simple as no processed food or no sugar, or it could be a whole foods diet, a carnivore diet, vegan diet, whatever. Number 2 is that you have to do 2 45-minute workouts. One must be outside. Number 3, you have to drink a gallon of water every day. Number 4, read 10 pages of a nonfiction book or a personal development focused book. And 5, take a daily progress picture. So because this is such a challenging challenge, I'm sure if you get through it all, by the end, it's very rewarding, and I'm sure you will see different changes in your physical and mental health. I do question the sustainability of this challenge. I don't think, obviously, like, you're meant to just do the 75-day challenge for the rest of your life. Like, it's, I think, meant to be like, okay, you're gonna do something really hard for 75 days, and then you can take away the things that you did and implement them into your daily life and, like, chill with the other things. But even within the 75 days, like, if you mess up once, you have to start all over again, which sounds kind of crazy to me, because I feel like that could easily turn 75 days into 365 days, and you're just on this never-ending 75,100 day challenge, and you would, like, never really get through it all. Because the thing is, humans aren't perfect. Like, when it comes to habits or anything like that, like, every single day isn't going to be perfect. That's why when you look into like fitness content, people say like it's about what you do most of the time, not sometimes. It's about consistency, not perfection. So even if, let's say, you don't feel like working out that day, but you still get to the gym and do like 30 minutes on the treadmill rather than doing a weight training session and 30 minutes on the treadmill. Like, at least you did something. You showed up. And so if you miss one of your 2 workouts in the day because you're a human being, does that mean like you just have to start over? That just sounds like hell. But I mean, then again, you can do the 75 hard challenge. I don't think Andy Frisella is there with a gun to your head like, you have to do this exactly how I said you have to do it. Like, it's not that deep. You do have free will at the end of the day. But I am curious, like, if anyone has done the 75 hard challenge, I'd love to know what your experience is like. Everyone's different, so I'm sure there are people who achieved this and it was great and your life was never the same and whatever, but I also wonder if there's people out there who did it and then just completely went back to their old habits and didn't make any long-term changes for themselves. And that's not to say that the challenge had no value and it was a waste of time, but I also think like it makes more sense to promote like a more sustainable long-term habit than like just doing something for 75 days that's really hard and never doing them again. But that's just me. 75 Soft is a alternative for those looking for a less intense, maybe more sustainable version of this trend. You know, for the soft girls who are into wellness, the Pilates princesses versus the macho gym rats. For the girls who want to challenge but don't want to suffer, perhaps. The 75 Soft challenge is basically 75 hard but softer, less intense, strict rules. Instead of only reading nonfiction, you can read fiction as well, things like that. Maybe you don't have to drink a full gallon of water, but maybe half of that. And so with these wellness trends, I do wonder, is wellness really just like rebranded diet culture? Because at times I do think it is. I mean, obviously it's not always that way. Like, I don't think so black and white and like, oh, this is all diet culture. But at the end of the day, I mean, what are the progress pictures for? When I saw that progress pictures were a part of it, like, I was like, like, I wonder if this is just kind of like another way to do a fad diet. Because you are like tracking the way your body changes, which isn't a bad thing. Because obviously, like, I don't think people are doing the 75 hard challenge just to look the same. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look different. Like, I do plenty of these habits in part for my mental health, but also because I like the way that it makes me look. Like, that's completely fine and normal. Going on like a diet for like a set of period of time, whether it's a vegan diet or a carnivore diet, it's just like a fad diet at the end of the day, isn't it? I think what's interesting about wellness culture is that it so easily can just be rebranded diet culture, but it kind of flies under the radar because the intention is to focus on your health and to improve your health, not to change your body to be skinnier, to fit into a beauty standard. And that alone just seems way more virtuous and acceptable. But at the end of the day, health and beauty tend to be intertwined more often than not. Beautification is a great motivator for caring for one's health. Clear skin, shiny hair, toned, slim body, all of those things are promised as a result of these specialized diets or drinking a gallon of water a day, sitting in a sauna, regular exercise, etc. Because I mean, even on the most basic level, like as human beings, when we see someone who appears healthy, that's like a good sign of like genetics, good sign to maybe procreate with that person, whatever. And if we see things that to us are deemed as like unattractive or ugly, that can sometimes signify like an illness. But unfortunately, the pursuit of perfect health and perfect beauty can turn very unhealthy and very ugly once it becomes obsessive. Emmeline Klein wrote in Deadweight, "The way the grand majority of wellness influencers look thin, white, lightly muscular, can't be separated from their messaging on what it means to be well, especially when their content often presents their appearances as evidence of health, of the efficacy of the purification process they promote. Many of these influencers' narratives employ religiously infused rhetoric implying transfiguration, describing an arduous conversion experience that takes a tired, flabby, acne-ridden girl scrolling Instagram in bed and resurrects her as a gleaming, grinning, planking Supergirl, the one whose ponytail bounces and shines in the video we are watching now. Scrolling through a sea of white smiles and colorful produce, long tan limbs in motion, and links to purchase, I see a beauty standard masquerading as a health standard, aesthetics dressed up as morals, and money seeping out of Instagram squares." Perfectly worded. I really couldn't have said it better myself. When I mentioned wellness culture so easily disguised as diet culture, it made me think of orthorexia versus anorexia. So first, orthorexia, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically the unhealthy obsession with clean eating and being like the most healthy, being afraid of what may happen if you ingest something unhealthy. It is considered an eating disorder, although it is not officially recognized in the DSM-5, which I think honestly maybe makes people take it less seriously. I don't think it's as common as other eating disorders. I think another reason why maybe people don't take it as seriously is because its main motivation isn't necessarily about thinness or appearance. It's about health, which again is like seemingly more virtuous than caring about your appearance and caring about how thin you are. As such, orthorexics are accorded a strange respect from the medical establishment, which is reluctant to cast orthorexic behaviors as disturbed because they seem like overly impassioned responses to medicine's own moral messaging. But building hard boundaries between the impulses motivating orthorexia and those driving other eating disorders launders a sickening beauty standards reputation by aiming to cleave it from the health ideal it is inextricably bound to. Wellness influencers seed the soil of social media with diets while claiming they aren't promoting a beauty standard, just educating their followers on the foods that will detoxify, energize, and optimize their bodies. But can we sunder health and aesthetics? Do we really believe that wellness is about feeling well rather than looking good? And that last phrase goes with what I was saying about the obsession with hotness and beautification. Like, the cult of self-improvement and wellness is really just a byproduct of people chasing a beauty standard. It's a natural kind of part of the pursuit of beauty is focusing on your health and making sure that you are eating the right foods and doing the right workouts so you can look your absolute best. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good and wanting to be happy in your body and whatever. Like, that's completely normal. And when you are healthy and that reflects outwardly, that's wonderful. And in some ways, health being the beauty standard sounds amazing. Unfortunately, people do unhealthy things when they are trying to adhere to a beauty standard. That's really where things get sad and messed up. I do think there is more below the surface when it comes to social media and like health and wellness influencers, especially when they're doing like a very specific restrictive diet that isn't just about, oh, I'm just educating people on how to be healthy. There's also like other reasons behind it, I think. And you know, it kind of reminds me of like when so many YouTubers were vegan and then stopped being vegan, and a lot of them were like, actually, I just had an eating disorder the whole time, and veganism made it easier for me to hide that eating disorder, or gave it more of an explanation. And lastly, the last major point I want to make in this video is like, I think it's interesting that I just made a video about Gen Z and millennials glorifying bed rotting and symptoms of depression and being antisocial and all of these things. Like in that video, I'm like, you know, it would help your mental health to like go outside and, you know, move your body for 30 minutes every day. But now I'm also making this video about self-improvement and winter arcs and things like that. And it seems like the internet is just always living in extremes. Like, balance seems to never really be like the thing or the trend, which I kind of already explained earlier, and how that's very profitable for certain industries. But it's either like, okay, I was bed rotting for 3 weeks and now I'm locking in and I'm in my winter arc and I'm not talking to anybody and I'm just gonna stay focused. It's like, what balance, y'all, balance. This is why we're so up mentally. We just need some balance, because if we keep cycling back and forth to the extremes, no wonder we're always chasing for something else. No wonder we're unhappy. We're not meant to like live in such extremes. But yeah, I hope this video didn't come off too critical of wellness, because like I feel like I've said this a million times. Like, I also love a wellness moment. I do value a lot of the things that I mentioned in this video. I just maybe think there could be more emphasis on sustainability, and I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting and fun to dissect, especially because like some of the things that I mentioned I also am guilty of, like whether it's obsessing over the way that I look or feeling insecure, wanting to change something about myself, having beautification be like the main motivator in certain habits. I don't know. Like I said, I'm on this internet just like y'all are. But anyways, that's really all I have to say. Thank you for subscribing. Join my Patreon for bonus content and early access to videos. Thank you again to Hello Nancy for sponsoring today's video. Okay, see ya. Bye.